Hello, YouTube. I'm Jacob, and today I felt like I needed to make the United States a square. Now, my goal with this was to keep the states pretty similarly shaped, but also pretty similarly sized. And it turns out this is very hard to do because, like, there's peninsulas and stuff, and there's sections where the US gets shorter and longer, and it's it's hard to create the exact like shapes. So as you'll see, some of the states get really stretched out, some of them get squashed down, and I could have done better in the end, but I feel like I did a pretty good job. So as you can see, I started on the west coast, and I realized, where is Alaska gonna go if I do this? Where I don't have any extra space, it's gonna just be a thin line on the top. So, I was like, okay, well, I can squish Alaska in there. So I kept going. I did Montana. I did the Dakotas, Wyoming. I basically did the whole West and Great Plains. And then I realized this is way too big. Like, I needed a lot more space for the East Coast states. Although I did say I was going to keep them similarly sized, it's pretty hard to squish down all these states because then the lines become really blurred. So I kind of wanted a little bit more space for the East Coast states than they usually have. So I just divided the screen in half and put all of the states west of um, Texas, the east border of Texas, on the one side, and then all the others on the other side. So not running down the Mississippi River, but like the line over that. And I also made sure that Alaska would be able to squish it on the top. Now, if I did your state dirty, if I made it smaller than it actually is, just wait till the end, because I did make a lot of the states bigger overall. So as you can see, I'm doing the Southwest right now, and Utah ended up getting really squished. I didn't really know what to do about that because it was just, it's like California gets really elongated, and that has to happen to Utah, but it also doesn't have that much space. Like, U.S. is more of a long country than a vertical country, so it's just hard. Like, it's I can't describe how it is. So I did the West. I did Nebraska right there, South Dakota, North Dakota, and I was feeling pretty good. Colorado ended up really square, but I still wanted to keep those four corners. And New Mexico was hard to do because of many reasons. Because I wanted to keep Texas big enough too. So I had to cut into where New Mexico would be, because Texas loses all that land on that kind of jutting out, like almost panhandle at the bottom, like that borders New Mexico. So I felt like no, that borders Mexico. So I felt like they needed more land. Now I moved on to the eastern states. So I did Louisiana, Mississippi, and I was trying to keep similar shapes, which I did. And yeah, I thought these turned out pretty well. I liked Missouri, but the hardest section of this whole map, believe it or not, is the Great Lakes, because you have to just get rid of the lakes. And those states don't border each other. New York does not border Michigan. Michigan does not border Minnesota. So what are you supposed to do? So I moved on to another part. I moved on to the south, and I wanted to get the South done well. But then I realized, what am I going to do with Florida? Because Florida's a peninsula and there's no land down there. So I decided to make Florida a whole huge section. So I did South Carolina, and I was still thinking what to do with Florida. So I just gave them the whole section because what if they were just squished up the Atlantic? And then I realized I did South Carolina bad, so I redid that a few times to try to give it more good shape. And then I extended it out into the ocean so that Florida and North Carolina wouldn't border. And I think that actually made North Carolina good. It got stretched out to the end of the square. And I feel like that made it look better. Because if it was squished in there, it would have looked too squished. Because it's a long state. Then I did Kentucky. Some of these states aren't the perfect shape, but I wasn't going for the perfect shape. I was just going for more of the feel of it. Then I moved on to Maryland and Delaware. I will later do DC, as you'll see. And Maryland is a very hard shape to do because it's so weird. I didn't really pay, like, there's no water. There's no water in the whole map. So I couldn't have that central part, like the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. I did West Virginia, and it felt pretty off too. I was trying to get that panhandle look with the two panhandles, but it didn't work. Then I did Pennsylvania, and New Jersey kind of just squished in there. I didn't really pay attention to the shape. And then New York is where it get really hard, because, again, the Northeast just juts out, and there's no jutting out here. So I just kind of skipped that part. And Ohio got huge. Then I realized, oh, Indiana's really long. So I had to squash them down a little bit. Because I wanted the states to border the same states, and that would have made Illinois border Minnesota. And Chicago got a little bit, it moved down a little bit. Then I did Michigan. No, I actually did Pennsylvania. And I gave Pennsylvania some of the area that would be in the Lake Erie, and I gave Michigan some of the area. And I also gave New York a lot of area that would have been Canada, because they had to stretch out over there so that the New England could fit in there. And I just did New England like that. Cape Cod, I didn't really do that well because there's no Cape. And I just put Maine up in the top corner. At this point, I felt like I was doing pretty good. But as I said before, I extended some of those northern states up a lot into Alaska's territory because Alaska does not need that much land. So if you live in one of these northern states on the northern border, I hope you like what I did. I also gave Michigan that little upper peninsula, and I extended Minnesota even more. And I felt like that looked pretty good. Then I went and colored every state. It's kind of hard to come up with all the colors, but I did. And I think this is like one of the best parts because it's like fun to look at where I did everything. So I'll just let that play. And when I'm doing that, write down in the comments, what do you think I did wrong? What do you think I should do next time? How I could fix it. Yeah, and everything. Because I want to make good maps. This isn't totally perfect, I know it's not. But I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I'll put all the names in the states at the end, as you'll see. And I hope you watched to the end. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the video, or dislike it. I don't really care. And I hope you subscribe. So yeah, I just fixed up some of those little errors that I had. And you can always tell. I can always tell where they are from above. It's so annoying. But yeah, I put Montana's name in, and I just was figuring out the font. And as you'll see, I put in every other name of every other state. So here it is, the new square United States. Yeah, this honestly looks pretty good. Do you like it? I don't know. So I'll zoom into some of the states so you can see. First of all, I added DC, as I said before, cut into Maryland. I don't know what I did there, but Yeah, that was good. Delaware was so small. Yeah, I see that New Mexico error, and now I'm like, ugh, that looks kind of horrible. Utah is definitely squished. I'm sorry if you're from Utah. And Washington in the north looks pretty good. I don't know why I made it a curvy border, but I just did. And yeah, I think Pennsylvania looks a bit goofy too, but I think it overall looks really good. Um, yeah, Hawaii's just a little triangle in the corner, and Alaska is just massive. So if you enjoyed, again, leave a like, subscribe, or don't. I don't really care. Bye.